Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is not so bright and early anymore. It's noon straight up here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this probably isn't going to be a long video because I really don't have a whole lot good to say about this. I came across a story. The link will be right down below. It's on TMZ. I found that usually get a lot of views when I do stories about two people, Britney Spears and MARGERA. So I was pretty surprised today when a story popped up on TMZ with the two of them together in a story. Bam getting a tattoo in reference to Britney Spears and referencing Britney Spears. There's a video right down below, Bam Margera video, where he's actually getting the tattoo, and he talks about Britney and the song "Oops, I Did It Again." All right, so let me get into this. So Bam I recently did a video where congratulating Bam. I was very happy for him that he got a month clean and sober. I really don't have anything good to say about this one. I'll fill you guys in a second. So he gets this tattoo and it's on his neck. I'll probably use the picture on the thumbnail. It says, "Oops, they did it to us again." I think that's what it says, meaning, it's in reference. He thinks they both go. I don't really, to be honest with you guys, I really don't get what he's saying. All right, so he kind of explains it in the video down below, the TMZ video down below. He says that he calls this the Florida Shuffle, okay, and he explains it in that he says his interventionist found reasons when they know you have insurance. His interventionist found reasons to prolong his stay in rehabs. And it says in the article down below that Bam spent over his insurance company has spent over $600,000. To be honest with you guys, I've told you guys I've been in and out of rehabs or in detoxes over 13 times, but it's not the same case with me. So let me finish with the story here. So he says, Britney, they did it, so in the video down below, he kind of talks into the camera and says, he explains this Florida Shuffle thing. And then he kind of links it up to her and her conservatorship. I don't really know what he's getting at. I guess what he's saying is the conservatorship for Britney was about, he's insinuating that it was about money, which it might well have been. His family or her family got this conservatorship for Britney. So I think that's the link he's trying to make here, that the conservatorship for Britney was about money, and supposedly his interventionist kept him in rehabs to milk his insurance company. I got a couple thoughts on this. Like I said, I've been in and out of rehabs. I was in and out of detoxes, mostly detoxes. And nobody I'm the one that asked to go into them. I've never heard of this. I was, a full-blown addict for 2.5 decades. And I spent a good, probably almost 5 years going in and out of detoxes about every 3 months, detoxes and rehabs. And I never heard of this Florida Shuffle thing. I did have insurance. I would go into a detox. I'd go to the hospital and ask to be admitted. I would say anything to get myself admitted because I was to the point where I couldn't live another day like that. It was a mental health crisis with me. I was threatening to harm myself, basically. And about every 3 months, I would go in. I would stay for about 7 days, up to 30 days, because my insurance was good. And I was thankful that every time I stayed longer, I got a little closer to becoming clean and sober. But, none of these 13 places that I went to kept me when I didn't want to stay or talked me into staying. I'm not familiar with what he's talking about here. Here's my thought on this. I'm kind of disappointed in Bam because to me, he's blaming somebody else for the stuff he's been through. To me, recovery is all about taking ownership, taking responsibility for everything that's happened in your while you were using. And him saying this, that he's insinuating that the interventionist kept him against his will, just to milk him out and milk his insurance company, like he had no say in this, and he was just led from one rehab to another one, to another one, to another one, and they just kept billing him, like he was just a zombie. And even though he was probably still using or whatever, I don't have respect for this. I really don't, because he's saying it was somebody else's fault that he kept failing in rehabs, because that's the bottom line here. Because if he was succeeding in the rehabs and he was actually doing what he was supposed to and staying clean, there's no way they'd be able to keep him in a rehab. If you're doing the right thing, and like I've talked about this before, the moment of clarity I got when I realized I could do this, and you get that willpower that all of a sudden you're like, your hope comes back. So if Bam had been doing the right thing, if he really had wanted to get clean, I don't believe for a second that any of these interventionists or these evil rehabs, money-hungry rehabs. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that some of these rehabs are, do things for money. But if Bam had been doing the right thing, if he had been working on if he had truly wanted to get clean, and was doing the right thing, I don't believe for a second that they would have kept him against his will, that they would have been able to talk him into staying. If you know you're doing the right thing, you get this, like looking at him now, he's got this, smile. You get this, you get faith back in yourself. You get hope back in yourself. And I can't imagine for one moment, when that started happening to me, anybody trying to talk me to going back into a rehab or detox, after I've been clean for, any length of time. So I have a problem with this. I really do. And I don't really even understand the link he's trying to make to Britney Spears. Honestly, I don't know if it's for publicity or, maybe he knows Britney's single now. Yeah, trying to get some. I hate to say that, but I don't have very much respect for this claim, that he was being used, he was just a zombie. He was just being led from one. If he had been doing the right thing all along, if he really wanted to get clean, he would have had the willpower just to move into the next step, which would have been a halfway house or a recovery house or something like that along those lines. And start going to 12-step programs every day. If he'd been doing that, if he'd been doing what he was supposed to, he wouldn't have been led from one rehab to the next. So he's blaming the interventionist for him when he kept continue using. To me, that's a bad sign. I was very happy for him in the last video that he had 30 days clean, and this just it doesn't give me hope. You need to take responsibility, own up. That he was bouncing from one rehab to the next because he let them bounce him, because he wanted to stay there, because he thought it was safer there, because he was being yelled at, whatever. But I think you need to take responsibility. I don't have very much respect for Bam's tattoo or his whole Britney explanation. So I hope he continues with the recovery. Recovery is possible. Have a good Thursday.